You remember a girl named Emma Bennett?
Yeah.
Bone cancer surgery?
Yes, 11 years old. Metropolitan General, 6 months ago.
She's my daughter. You saved her life. She's alive because of you.
I remember her. I'm so glad she's doing well. That's incredible.
A normal traffic stop turned into one of the most touching experiences in Officer Jason Bennett's career when he pulled over a speeding motorist, only to realize it was the very surgeon who had saved his daughter's life 6 months ago. What happened next will truly amaze you. Before we share the full story of this unforgettable meeting, we want to hear from you. People from every corner of the globe are watching this video, and we'd love to know where you're from. Drop your city or country in the comments below. And if this is your first time visiting our channel, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. Your support means the world to us and allows us to share more stories like this. A 12-year-old boy had been rushed to the hospital after a serious car crash. The only trauma doctor available was Dr. Isaiah Perez. He was caught in traffic across town when the hospital called urgently, saying he was needed immediately for an emergency. He had been on medical leave all week, finally resting after months of non-stop surgeries. His body ached for sleep. But when he heard the urgency in the ER nurse's voice, he knew he had no choice. A child's life depended on him. Isaiah pressed harder on the gas pedal. The highway stretched out ahead, almost empty in the late-night hours. His speed climbed past 70, then 80. The sign said 55, but every second counted. In trauma cases like this, life and death could be decided in minutes. He mapped out the route in his mind. 10 more minutes at this pace, and he would arrive. The boy still had a chance. Isaiah had handled situations like this before. Any delay could lead to complications. Complications could mean disaster. Then he noticed the flashing red and blue lights in his rearview mirror. His heart sunk. Isaiah immediately slowed and pulled over to the shoulder, his mind spinning through the possible outcomes. The ticket would take time. The explanation would take even longer. Meanwhile, a child was losing blood on an operating table, waiting for help that might not arrive in time. Officer Jason Bennett stepped out of his patrol car and walked toward the vehicle. He had clocked the black sedan going 27 miles over the limit. No hesitation, no easing into speed, just pure velocity. In his 15 years on the job, Bennett had heard every excuse imaginable, but the law was the law. Isaiah rolled down his window as the officer got closer. His hospital ID still hung around his neck, and the surgical scrubs peeked out from under his jacket. He kept both hands on the wheel, making sure everything was visible and clear. Officer Bennett leaned toward the window, shining his flashlight across the interior. He immediately noticed the medical clothing, but kept his face neutral. He had pulled over doctors before. Everyone had somewhere important to be.
Isaiah spoke first, his tone calm yet urgent. He quickly explained the situation: a child in critical condition, internal injuries, no other surgeon available, every minute mattered. Slowly, he reached for his hospital ID and showed Bennett his credentials from Metropolitan General. Bennett studied the ID closely. The name stirred a faint memory, but he couldn't place it right away. Dr. Isaiah Perez, trauma surgeon. The face seemed familiar, though Bennett met hundreds of people each week. He returned to his patrol car to check the license and registration, routine procedure. The computer screen lit up in the dark as he typed in the details. Clean record, no warrants, no past violations. Everything was in order. Yet, something kept bothering him. That name, that face. Bennett stared at the license photo on the screen. Then it hit him like a wave. His chest tightened. 6 months ago. Metropolitan General Hospital, Pediatric Oncology Wing. His daughter Emma, lying in that hospital bed, her tiny body fighting a severe form of bone cancer. The surgery had lasted 7 long hours. 7 hours of pacing the corridors, praying to anyone who would listen, watching other families come and go while his daughter's life hung in the balance. The surgeon who finally came out, exhausted but smiling, had told him Emma would survive. The tumor was removed. She had a future. Bennett sat frozen in his patrol car, staring at the ID in his hand. The same calm eyes, the same steady presence. This was the man who had given his daughter a second chance at life. The man who had spent 7 hours carefully removing a tumor that 3 other surgeons had deemed untreatable. Bennett remembered every moment of that day, how Dr. Perez had met with him and his wife before the surgery, explaining all the risks honestly, yet speaking with a confidence that made them believe. How the doctor had personally called them that night to check on Emma, even though his shift had ended hours before. Emma was now 11, healthy, laughing, playing soccer again, enjoying the childhood cancer had tried to take from her. Bennett glanced at the car ahead. The red taillights glowed in the dark. Inside sat the man who had saved his daughter's life. The reason she would finish school, go to college, and one day marry because he had never given up on a little girl when others might have. And now, that same man was hurrying to save another child. Bennett's hands shook slightly as he stepped out of his patrol car. The citation book felt heavy in his pocket, but he knew he wouldn't be using it. This wasn't about traffic rules anymore. It was about something far more important than procedure or protocol. He walked back to the sedan, his mind spinning over the astonishing coincidence. What were the chances? Hundreds of thousands of people in the city, thousands of cars on the roads each night, and somehow on this very evening, he had stopped the one person he owed more thanks to than anyone else in his life. Isaiah watched in the side mirror as the officer came closer. He braced for the ticket, already calculating how much time it might take. The boy at the hospital couldn't wait. Bennett reached the window and paused, silent for a moment. Isaiah looked up, puzzled by the change in the officer's face. The usual professionalism had vanished, replaced by something else entirely. Then Bennett spoke, his voice thick with feeling. He asked Isaiah if he remembered a girl named Emma Bennett, 11 years old, bone cancer, surgery 6 months ago in Metropolitan General. Isaiah's eyes widened as recognition struck. He remembered the case had been one of the toughest of his career. The tumor had wrapped around critical blood vessels, making removal risky. But he had studied the scans for hours, planned every possible move, and somehow managed to succeed. He also remembered Emma's parents, the father who barely left the waiting room, and the mother who held her daughter's hand until the anesthesia took over. The pure relief on their faces when he told them the surgery had worked. Bennett's voice trembled as he spoke. He told Isaiah that Emma was his daughter, that she was alive because of him, that she had just started middle school and made the soccer team, and that she dreamed of becoming a doctor one day because of the man who saved her life. Tears rolled down Bennett's cheeks. He wasn't supposed to cry while on duty. He was meant to stay composed, professional, and enforce the law without letting emotions show. But standing there before the man who had given him back his daughter, all of that vanished. Isaiah felt a tightness in his own throat. He had performed hundreds of surgeries and saved countless lives, yet he rarely saw the long-term results. Patients recovered and moved on. He moved on to the next case. The cycle never ended. But here was living proof that his work truly mattered beyond the operating room. Bennett wiped his eyes and gathered himself. He asked about the emergency at the hospital. Isaiah explained once more, a 12-year-old boy, critically injured. Every minute counted. The officer nodded slowly, understanding fully settling in. Another child, another family facing a crisis. And the only person who could help was right here, held up by a traffic stop. Bennett made his choice immediately. He told Isaiah to follow him. No ticket, no citation, no delay. Instead, he would get a full police escort straight to Metropolitan General Hospital. Isaiah barely had time to register what was happening before Bennett was back in his patrol car, lights flashing, siren blaring. The officer moved in front of the sedan and sped forward, clearing the way ahead. Traffic cleared as they sped down the highway together. Bennett used every tool at his disposal to get Isaiah to the operating room as quickly as possible. What would have been a 10-minute drive took only 4. Bennett radioed other units ahead, making sure every intersection was empty, every light turned green. He drove with the same urgency Isaiah had felt, now understanding exactly what was at stake. Another Emma. Another family waiting in pain for someone to save their child.
They arrived at the emergency entrance together. Isaiah leapt from his car, grabbing his bag from the passenger seat. Before rushing inside, he looked back at Bennett, who had stepped out of the patrol car. The two men met eyes for a brief moment. No words were needed. Bennett just nodded. Isaiah nodded back. Then the surgeon vanished through the sliding doors, already focused on the critical task ahead. Bennett stood for a moment, watching the hospital entrance long after Isaiah had gone inside. His radio crackled with routine calls, but he paid no attention. He thought about the chain of events that led them here, the randomness, the perfect timing. 6 months ago, Isaiah had saved Emma. Tonight, Bennett had helped Isaiah save another child. The circle was complete. 3 hours later, Bennett got a text from Isaiah. The surgery had been a success. The boy would survive. Another family would not have to face the heartbreak of losing their child. Another life had been saved because someone refused to quit. Bennett kept that message. He planned to show it to Emma one day, when she was old enough to truly understand. He would tell her about the night he pulled over her surgeon, how life can reunite people in the most surprising ways, and how a single act of kindness can create ripples far beyond what we ever imagine. The body cam video from that traffic stop eventually went online. Millions watched the moment recognition hit, when tears fell and a routine stop became something extraordinary. People from all over shared comments, telling their own stories of unexpected reunions and second chances. But for Bennett and Isaiah, the viral attention mattered little compared to the real outcome. 2 children were alive, 2 families were whole, and 2 men whose paths had briefly crossed in life's chaos had reminded each other why their work truly mattered. Sometimes justice isn't about issuing tickets or following rules. Sometimes it's about seeing the person in front of you and choosing kindness over procedure. Do you think Officer Bennett made the right choice? What would you have done in his place? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if this story touched you, pass it along to someone who needs to hear it today. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this.